President Kathy A. Krendl.
Thank you all very much. Bishop O, Chancellor Fingerhut, President Kerr, Reverend Anderson, Reverend Bradley, Chairman Morrison, members of the Board of Trustees, faculty delegates, Otterbein faculty, staff, and alumni and students, friends and family. It's wonderful to see all of you here today. I want to thank you for joining us as we celebrate the past, present, and future of Otterbein College. Since the 17th century, new presidents of American institutions of higher education have been installed through ceremonies like this one. But I would like to suggest today that we should not inaugurate a single person. What we should inaugurate instead is a deeper understanding of the historic accomplishments of this institution and its future potential. Otterbein College is a storied place that has rescued fugitive slaves, included women as faculty members from its very founding, the first institution in the nation to do so, admitted a student of color before the Civil War, welcomed Japanese American students who had been sent to internment camps, changed the course of national liberal arts education through its integrative studies program, and defeated Ohio State University at football 42-6. The year was 1890, but it's still in the record. Since 1847, women and men together have thought, taught, studied, and lived in every square inch of this campus. Their ambitions, their beliefs, their toil, and their treasure built Otterbein College, which, like a shining light, has graced the city of Westerville, the state of Ohio, and our nation. I want to pursue that image of a shining light as we reflect on the history of Otterbein College and connect its origins in the mid-19th century with the 21st century and beyond. Drawing these connections between past and present will help determine how we will act in shining that light into the future, setting the course for the generations to come. We must build on Otterbein's past while we keep our eyes on the distant horizon, the destination point for which we will ever strive, those ideals that Otterbein represents. First, reflections on Otterbein's history. The current seal of Otterbein College was adopted in 1926. There's a lamp on the seal emitting beams of light. It's shaped like Aladdin's lamp, and I suspect that Otterbein has made some dreams and wishes come true. In fact, based on the number of you who have told me that you met the love of your life at Otterbein College, I would submit that the wishes of many Otterbein students have been answered over the years. But that is not what the early leaders of the institution had in mind when they selected light as a symbol. Our archives describe the lamp on the seal as representing the light of learning. Light is a powerful symbol. We use it as a metaphor in everyday language. We shed light on a topic. We see the light when we have a sudden insight. We shine a light or bring to light a problem. Light as a symbol of knowledge, learning, and insight permeates our language. It is an appropriate symbol for Otterbein College because enlightened knowledge is the core of the Otterbein experience. Our faculty have been turning on that light of learning for students for 162 years. I could draw on many examples, but let me share just one from a 1948 graduate, one of the very first Otterbein graduates I met last winter. He recalled a lesson he learned from his mentor at Otterbein as he prepared for a career in the sciences. "What I learned," he said, "was that the most important skill for a scientist or engineer is the power of observation. You watch people and you see what problems they encounter, and then you try to figure out a way to solve them." This gentleman holds numerous patents and has a long history of developing innovative solutions to everyday problems. He credits his success to his training by his mentor in keen observation. It is such lessons that endure throughout one's life that alumni recall when they tell me about their Otterbein experience. The lessons that set the course for their future, because at Otterbein, each student is treated as an individual. Faculty take the time to focus on each student, know him or her well enough to present appropriate challenges, and then provide support to help them meet those challenges. Otterbein graduates value this intimate and supportive environment. In fact, some families have been sending their children and their grandchildren here for more than 100 years. I've met several families who have 5 generations of Otterbein graduates. In fact, 20% of each incoming class continues to be legacy students, that is, those following their parents and grandparents, their uncles and aunts, and brothers and sisters and cousins to this nurturing and inspiring college. I've also heard about many families who have sacrificed mightily to send their children to Otterbein. At a recent alumni event, one woman approached me to share her Otterbein story. She and her family had lived in Western Pennsylvania, where her father was a minister in the Evangelical United Brethren Church. Her family knew that it would be impossible to provide college educations for their children on her father's income. So he resigned his position as a pastor and accepted a custodial position at Otterbein College, where his 3 children received their undergraduate degrees courtesy of the institution. He knew the value of an Otterbein education far exceeded anything else he could give his children, so he found a way to make it possible. Making sacrifices for education is not a new story, and it's not unique to Otterbein, but it takes on special significance here because Otterbein is known as a college of opportunity. This is an unusual label for a small private institution, but the commitment to recruitment and support of first-generation college students is both very real and very deep. Opening doors of opportunity for first-generation students is an integral part of our mission. I can relate to that because my 5 siblings, all of who are here with us today, and I were the first in our family to attend college, and they are joined by my husband and my children and my in-laws. Thank you all for being here. When it came time for me to choose a college, I chose an institution very much like Otterbein, and I succeeded there because of the dedicated professors who helped me overcome deficiencies, challenged me to excel, and recognized my hidden potential. Otterbein's shining light serves as a beacon of hope for those who have great ambitions and great potential, but for whom the distance seems impossibly far to traverse. Yet time and time again, as the stories go, some minor miracle occurs, and the seemingly impossible becomes possible. One 2009 graduate, a first-generation student, told me her story. She wanted desperately to attend college, but her family did not have the means to support her. She determined that she had just 2 options. One was attending Otterbein, relying on her outstanding scholastic record in order to earn academic scholarships. The other was entering the military to launch a military career. When she received Otterbein's award letter, she knew it was insufficient to make college possible. So she turned her sights toward the military. However, she failed her physical exam and found that she had run out of options. It appeared that both a college education and a military career would be beyond her reach. As she tells her story, it was literally in the midst of her prayers, asking for guidance, that the phone rang. A financial aid staff member at Otterbein had found another significant scholarship for which she could qualify. That final award made the difference. She graduated last June with honors, and today is enrolled in a doctoral program at Penn State University in rural sociology. Her goal is to help other students like herself find their way to college. These stories of making the impossible possible have occurred throughout Otterbein's history. We embrace first-generation students, and we shine the light of learning on them. Now I want to explore the second part of our inaugural theme, the theme of connections. At Otterbein, connections are about relationships, and I have learned in recent months that friendships that begin here are built to last. At a recent event, I met two women who travel across the country to attend a weekend alumni gathering each year to be together. No family members accompany them, just the two of them amidst all of the other alumni who gather together. They use this weekend as a special time to catch up, to connect, to support, to cry, and to laugh. It is dedicated time, time committed to each other, and it has shaped a relationship that has lasted more than 40 years, a bond that began their very first day here on the Otterbein campus. Now retired, they continue this tradition. They no longer have to don the dresses, white gloves, and flowery hats required at college events when they were students. Now they come prepared for what amounts to a 72-hour slumber party. But relationships aren't the only kind of connections that Otterbein fosters. From an educational perspective, connections take on special meaning. These connections are a demonstration of the way in which that light of learning is taken out into the world. Since 1856, less than a decade after its founding, Otterbein has maintained an ongoing relationship with Sierra Leone. Faculty and students have carried our shining light with them to Africa. We have a long list of Otterbein graduates from Sierra Leone. In fact, when my appointment was announced, I received an immediate email from a 90-year-old 1940 graduate of Otterbein who told me that he regretted he would miss my inauguration because he had returned to his homeland of Sierra Leone. His determination to continue to serve, to continue to support, to continue to shine his light among his people was humbling. He was connected to Otterbein, but he was also connected to his country, and his education here had provided him the necessary tools and skills to help his people. He represents a common theme in Otterbein's history, preparing for a life of service. I have encountered many alumni who have lived that life of service. In many cases, their entire career has consisted of serving others. Otterbein's graduates are engaged citizens who make a difference in others' lives. It's a proud and honorable tradition, and it sets Otterbein apart. In 2008, the college was awarded the President's Award for Community Service, one of only 3 institutions in the country to be so honored. Our Center for Community Engagement supports community engagement activities around the world. Last year, Otterbein students contributed more than 50,000 hours in volunteer activities. I've witnessed our students' dedication to service. I've tried to keep pace with them, and I can tell you they set a pretty aggressive pace. This volunteerism is really about connections. That is, it is about putting education to work by connecting learning with real-world problems. Through service learning activities and internships, faculty help students apply their knowledge in ways that improve lives by working with communities, schools, social service agencies, and NGOs. Otterbein extends the learning environment beyond the classroom and encourages students to connect learning with the outside world, and I do mean the world. Beyond Sierra Leone, students take their learning with them to Mexico, to Rwanda, to Europe, to Asia, and all around the globe. So Otterbein connections are about relationships, but they're also about sharing our light of learning with the world. Enlightened service is a trademark of Otterbein College. We work with our community partners to identify needs and opportunities, and then we apply learning to improving lives, growing as individuals, and serving others. So finally, we consider actions, the last part of our Reflect, Connect, Act inaugural theme. How does that symbol of the light of learning apply to actions on behalf of Otterbein? The answer is that we must act in order to assure that the light of learning will be sustained for and will remain accessible to future generations. The very founding of Otterbein provides a model for such action. All institutions have critical moments at which lie possibilities for the future. For Otterbein, such a moment came early on when a young man who would one day be president of this institution, Lewis Davis, was asked to raise money to establish a university and to win endorsements for it from the Sandusky and Muskingum conferences of the United Brethren Church. He set off on horseback in 1846. First it was snow, then it was mud, as he recalled. He didn't mention rain, but he said in his journal, "Day by day, through the mud, through the black swamp, mud, 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 till I could not even tell the color of my horse." Reverend Davis understood the importance of education and knew how it could empower an individual because he hadn't learned to read until the age of 18. He was helped by a blacksmith who saw that although Davis had grown up on a poor Virginia farm, he was a promising young man. The closest Davis came to formal education was through the occasional tutoring delivered by Methodist circuit writers. The idea of founding a college thrilled him, but it set off a furious debate in the church. Although Philip William Otterbein, founder of the United Brethren Church, had received an excellent education in Germany, some bishops argued that the church couldn't afford a college, and others that formal education was a hindrance for ministers. Presiding over the Sandusky Conference at its meeting to discuss the matter, Bishop Russell said that he opposed the establishment of Otterbein. The bishop ordered Davis, "You be still, be still." Davis replied that he could not be still. This exchange was followed by a procedural battle in which the bishop attempted to rule Davis out of order whenever he rose to speak. But in the end, the convention voted for Otterbein. From Sandusky, Reverend Davis traveled to Muskingum, where he met his nemesis again and was told as before, "To be still." But again, Davis was not still, and the Muskingum Conference endorsed Otterbein the following year. Because he refused to be still, Reverend Davis secured the backing of the church, and Otterbein University of Ohio, as it was named at its founding, came to be. Davis became the first president of the Board of Trustees, served for 18 years as Otterbein's president, and was honored as the father of higher education in the United Brethren Church. And he loved music. His piano, the very first in Westerville, began the great tradition of music education at Otterbein, a tradition that our talented students have demonstrated so beautifully today. Thank you, students. Davis's most important ally in founding Otterbein was the Reverend William Hanby, another man who understood in his very bones the importance of education. From a family of indentured servants in Pennsylvania, when William was only 9, his widowed mother bound him into service with a farmer. 6 years later, he indentured himself to a harness maker who proved to be such a cruel master that William ran away to Ohio, hoping to find freedom. He could barely read or write, but he apprenticed himself to a saddle maker who was kind and helped provide him with 2 years of education. His experiences as an indentured servant, as a fugitive from that bondage, and as a man of limited formal learning motivated William Hanby to work tirelessly for freedom and education his entire life. His homes in Rushville and later in Westerville were important stops on the Underground Railroad that helped slaves reach freedom. He campaigned for Otterbein's founding with Reverend Davis, rose to become a bishop in the church, and supported Otterbein with heart and soul for his entire life. These stories of Lewis Davis and William Hanby illustrate something basic about Otterbein. It is an institution that to this day will not be still. In the face of challenges, Otterbein has always refused to retreat. It has not turned back, it has moved ever forward, carrying with it the enduring values of an institution founded on progressive ideals. President Davis and Bishop Hanby epitomize the Otterbein spirit that women and men, the students and staff and faculty who have followed them, have nurtured. These men of the frontier carried the shining light of an Otterbein education on behalf of future generations. As self-educated men, they understood the importance of having a college education, and so they fought for it. It was too late for them, but it was not too late for their children. Davis and Hanby acted not for their own generation or their own benefit, but for those who would follow. It is the duty of people of goodwill to support the culture that supported them in their youth, or, as in the case of Lewis Davis and William Hanby, to support the culture they wish they'd had when they were young. It is the path pioneered by these early founders and paved by subsequent presidents, including my immediate predecessors, President Kerr and President DeVore, that I must follow as the 20th president of Otterbein College. We must act to sustain this benevolent community that celebrates equality, inclusiveness, a dedication to serving others, a determination to apply knowledge and learning to improve the human condition, and a commitment to remain a college of opportunity, a community that focuses on educating the whole person and instilling humane values. Otterbein's ideals, though made manifest in the mid-19th century, offers inspiration in the 21st century. From its origin, this institution was progressive. But also from its origin, Otterbein has been modest and humble. In its earliest days, the institution sheltered some of the self-evident truths that were enshrined in the Declaration of Independence, but which our nation left unfulfilled for 2 centuries or more. This place and its people helped to keep those founding values alive until the rest of the nation finally acknowledged and honored them. Otterbein served as a repository for the ideals of a new nation. The American project of liberty and justice for all was realized here long before it was realized across the country. Clearly, what has been wrought here is of significance, undeniable significance. Yet Otterbein remained modest and humble, set apart in its quiet, peaceful village, keeping to itself. So today, I propose that we go against the grain and turn away from the humility and modesty that have characterized Otterbein in the past. I would like to challenge each of you to abandon the idea that Otterbein is a hidden gem, a well-kept secret. Instead, I ask you to join me in celebrating Otterbein and its ideals, to follow in the footsteps of Davis and Hanby in embracing those ideals, to begin now to reclaim our position as a shining light in all of higher education, and to reestablish our leadership as an enlightened institution, one that will lead the way in the 21st century and beyond. Building on the past, but transforming the institution in order to serve future generations, as our founders would have us do. In the days ahead, I ask each of you to reflect, connect, and act in your own way on behalf of Otterbein College. Carry the light of learning out into the world, and in the process, let us pledge anew that we will be true to our dearest Otterbein. Thank you.